Spirituality is a condition of a very sweet, pure, kind, well-intended awareness that you maintain daily throughout the evening hours, that never leaves us. We're always in a place transcendent of the everyday norms, always happy. Doesn't mean we don't get lonely at times, and you will live utterly alone for the rest of your life from your fellows until you discover 2 or 3 or 5 or 7 or 600,000 people that live in this transcendent place. And you won't find them at the marketplace. You won't find them in the neighborhood. You'll find them here in the quiet, the quietude of eternity. There is such a condition. It's been called spirituality. It's a deep religious state. And it transcends itself all of the time. All of our sub-personalities and the sub-personalities of all the people in the world, and all the people in the world are sub-personalities of their own soul, until they're at this high point in awareness where only the soul exists. And in that place, the soul is so unimaginably contrite, humble, before the Father, the Mother, whatever you want to call it, of our soul, which is an infinite kindness. And don't confuse kindness with any kind of weakness. It's not the human extract of being kind and being, or being nice. It's something utterly powerful. You live beyond all the norms every day, all through the night. And you'll follow it like Chief Crazy Horse was asked to fight the cavalry throughout the West, up in the Dakotas, and being deeply spiritually endowed human being, he said that to follow, he had a vision, and then he said to follow that vision, one man must follow his vision as an eagle follows the deep blue into the sky. In other words, it's something poetically grand. It's something that you live, I say poetically, not in a weakness. Great poetry is often more powerful and truthful than any language. But it's the poetry of the soul, of your soul, of my soul, of our soul, that can change everything that's around us permanently in a few short years. You have a soul, a spirit, and God is a soul, a spirit. Your mother is a soul, a spirit, first of all. And everything good and decent and real and true and permanent is the presence of your soul. And there's one soul and one God and one you. And it's a spiritual presence. And if you follow that into the deep blue, into the sky, to the sun, you'll awaken in fields of clover, basically. There is a condition of spiritual illumination, enlightenment. Forgive the language, I'm trying to say something that has never been said and will never be said, but it can be felt and known, and you can be grounded in it. And when you're there, you'll meet many, many friends. If you're older, you'll have many relationships that people around you won't know, won't see. You might be lonely as a person, but if you're an intelligent, grounded soul, you'll have many relationships that people do not know are there. And if you happen to communicate with one of these friends or not, most of them out of the body, there's a sweetness and a purity and a permanence to it. That's being said to announce the project before us today, that we can all live in this place now. And then the tragic conditions around us will be gone. Spirituality entails a, forgive the word, infinite happiness, an infinite humility and a kindness. And there are endless realms that are spiritual. And they're all yours to inhabit in one moment. And that'll be the last moment, the last breath you take as a mortal, where you let go of the mortal sheath and just become spirit. It's been called illumination, enlightenment, nirvana, the beatific vision, the vision of God. It's the vision of the real you. What's being said is we can jointly relax into this quietude and be happy. And the dark forces that assail our fine senses throughout the day and evening hours will be gone. There are many ways of addressing these forces, and it's simply through stepping back from the whole world. You will have gifts and powers, as they say in the ancient religions. And these gifts and powers are not powers over anyone, they're powers to transcend what seems to be in this world, which is a hell, according to all the traditional religious and spiritual paths. You are a virtuous soul, a kind human being, a decent fellow, aren't you? You love your mom, your friends, your family. You only want that which is good, don't you? If you're a man, sometimes you fight with power to get there, to make things just. If you're a woman, your heart aches for your love, your family, and you do everything to support. And if you're just simply your soul, you become very quiet. Spiritual people don't think as human beings think. They're transcendent of everything all the time. And I'm asking you to arrive at this state now and never leave it. And you'll have visions of endless beauty and purity throughout the day and evening hours. You'll be just this openness, this sweetness, this kindness, this truth. This world is truly the lost of all lost kingdoms. I say that lightly, but not without the gravity of understanding the pain that all decent people live through. And that's why I'm trying to present this particular empowerment session to let us rise in our thought streams and our emotions to a place of wonder and purity and kindness and a simplicity in consciousness. And when you're here, you'll see these grand vistas of eternity all the time. You'll live apart from everyone. But you'll see the visions of the elders, of the mom with the child in trouble. You'll be with them. You'll be the mom. You'll be the granddad. You'll be the great teacher and friend and protector and warrior for all those you find worthy in your environment, which means the entire world or any world system. If there are other world systems, you will transcend all those in one moment. You're not thinking as human beings anymore. All this will condense into one infinitesimal point of reality and be gone. We're not our body or our problems. You're not the solution to your problems or my problems or any problems. There are no problems. There's only God. And God is an awareness, a consciousness, a purity, a humility, and there is a God. And the more spiritual you become in your vision, the more humble you become before God. And forget all the religious mumbo jumbo. I don't say this lightly. I have many friends, like my friend Tim, are much better people than me, but are very, very religious because their troubles and their guilt and so forth causes them to go from humility to humiliation to accept that, because they'll accept blame for anything. All good men will do that. But transcendent of that, when you finally see in your last vision that it's not you, and you'll let that go. You'll still take on responsibility for everything in this particular world system. I certainly have for 60 years of this life, or 65 years, and since my birth, but I'm simply saying that, for I have many, many friends that as I am, they are, and we rarely see each other. We don't need to. It's lovely when we see each other, but our responsibility towards this vision is absolute. That there be pain no longer, that the mystery of God should be finished. It's in fulfillment of a sublime sense of humility before God. And in that, you can encase your mother, your father, your family, your friends, your old loves, your new loves, and all that you cherish. It's an experience of oneness, of purity and simplicity, and it's heart-rending. It's so wonderful to be humble. It's don't want to mix this quality, but it's infinite ecstasy. There's a purity to it. It's more powerful than a locomotive or sunlight. It's an evening walk in the sunlight, hand to hand with your love, your family, your friends, and all that you know that is dear, that is true, that is right, that is righteous. You'll involve yourself through the center of the hearts and souls of all the good people in the world, and you'll experience them now. Heaven isn't a place you go to at death. There is no death. In this sense, there's not a life. You're never born. You disappear into the light. It's a wonderful thing to fall into the hands of the living God. And when you do, you'll discover God is in awe toward you and is infinitely more humble than you are, and yet it is toward you. We're reuniting with this sense of dignity and kinship and love and friendship with our friends from long ago. You'll find them in your presence. You'll wake with them. You'll drift with them. You'll anoint with them. You will be the anointed. These are not just words. My friend Andre or Peter Mink, my jiu-jitsu teacher, they're very, very deeply spiritual. So in that, there's a tribal sense, a tribal spiritual sense. In other words, all of our ancestors are here with us now. Whatever problems physically my mother had before she passed, that's gone. Since one day I was up in the Palace of Legion of Honor in the city looking at a painting, and 2,000 years after she passed, and she became this gorgeous painting, and then so she had passed through whatever, she got let go of all the traumas of the earth, and has been there as pure spirit ever since, and my guide, and same with my dad. And I was telling my buddy Andre, he's from the mountains in Laos, and he has a tribal sense, spiritual tribal sense, like I mentioned Crazy Horse or whatever. It's not tribal, there's a sense, like when you work out with Greg here, it teaches a lot of kids martial arts for many, many years, and it's like one person in the room. Because they're all doing the same thing for the same reason. It's a spiritual discipline to become quiet, to fight through your fears. It's just a very quick way of meditation. And so everyone becomes like one person. There's just one sense. And you're becoming proud, but kind and true, and you're safe, so you're going to be your protector. You're going to be a good dad. You're going to be a good student, a good teacher, a good friend. And what I'm saying today is if we follow that path to its ultimate conclusion, which is illumination, enlightenment, nirvana, you can gather all these forces, like I do with Andre or Peter Mink, my teacher. So we're very spiritual, so we're not really here. And my life affords me to live many more hours and completely spiritual than they do, but they give it to everyone they teach, which are hundreds of students every week, and that's a magnificent opportunity for a spiritual person to have, to express their spirituality, to give it. So whatever you have, whatever your gift is, whatever your ability is, cherish it more deeply and give it more freely, and guide your tribe to this higher path. It will not fail you. You'll become so intelligent and aware and kind and true, and you'll have the power of God. Imagine such a thing. And the world will be on you more than ever. And the first 2 or 3 months you're going to enjoy it because you'll see everything that's being said right now is true. These little forces and sub-personalities coming at you, and you're going to learn each time. It's part of the teaching, the way it always happens, and the way it will happen with you, with me, with everyone we hold dear. There are no problems, only solutions. They're all spiritual. The world you can consider as a habitation of devils, people who believe the world is really real, no matter which side of what issue they're on. It doesn't exist, and according to all the spiritual traditions, all of them, there's one God, one sense of reality, and it's pure, and it's you. Fall into that consciousness, and the world will be no more. These are not just words. You are eternal. You're forever. You dropped into this dark place, and you will illuminate through it. You'll illumine through it, and it won't be anymore. That's why you're born. That's why we're here. This is what this is. It's the end of pain and suffering forever. Doesn't matter if the Buddha said it 2,500 years ago in the Deer Park, or it's spoken of throughout the scripture and so on and so forth, and all great poets have touched it. And every mother has seen it in their child's eyes. There is a higher way, a truer way, an eternal way. And you own it. You are it. Anything that's been on you that causes consternation, fear in any way, that's a dark force. You are never at fault for anything. As soon as you're born into this life, this dark force works on you, because how can anything be physical when I want to make this very clear. When you're spiritual, you're aware of eternity, infinity, forever, and you're aware that it's a spiritual sense. It's lighter than air, and it's more wonderful than love. It's transcendent. It's the other end of the rainbow. It's so wonderful and so gracious and so kind, and it's infinite power. If you can imagine such a thing, but it's not power in the worldly sense. So as soon as you're there, that's all there is. And you'll see that everything in the world that twists you and turns you has a certain physical, a certain fearful. These are lower emotions, lower emotions. They do not exist in your soul. There's just this purity, this openness, this sweetness, this kindness, this joy, this simplicity. It's so subtle. It's so you, isn't it you? There's nothing wrong with you. You are your soul. Your soul is God. And when you experience this, it's so heartrending. You'll experience it in the night. You'll see God's presence for a moment. In other words, it gets so many dimensions of love, of purity that'll move through you all day and night. It'll never stop. And the world will try to make you like everyone else, because your job here is to illumine those you find worthy, the decent ones. And it's very complex, and like I say, I mentioned different ways people, my friends have doing it, and a friend that runs a large spiritual community and runs whatever. It's always the same work. In your spirit, look in your mom's eyes and heart when she tried to bring you up, or your siblings, or any mom anywhere, and then she's always there for you. She just wants you to do well. Well, you're everyone's mom, everyone's dad. I always felt from the time I was 20 years old that I was everyone's father, if you can understand that. In other words, I was just there to support, to help, to lift, to protect. And that's what you'll do. That's why you are. Look at the ugliness of the world around you and know that you'll take it on. And you'll end it in this one short life. It's not a big deal once you awaken to the initial thrust of it, or that is reality. Then you'll take on whatever load is put on your back. From time to time, day to day, and through the night, you'll carry it to fruition. You'll learn ways to advance this teaching, to lift, teach, instruct, care for, protect, love, nurture all the decent people you know. You'll find more and more subtle ways of doing it, and you don't have to leave your easy chair to do it. It will come to you, it will come to you, it will come to you. You are a divine instrument, a holy vessel, a kind person. You are the living truth. You cannot fail. And again, for the first few months, it'll come at you really hard and fast, and you're going to like it, because that's going to toughen you up real quick, and you'll see that all these stupid low-level emotions and feelings are not part of the spirit, so no matter what they do, it's just going to twist them in a knot. And they're not really real. There's no spiritual agency to them at all, and you'll realize this is a lost kingdom. To make, again, an example, everything spiritual is infinite and pure and kind. Imagine 100 trillion suns exploding all the time, but with ecstasy. That's what this is, but it's very subtle, and sometimes it's that, it moves through it. And all this world is somehow, in all eternity, I say this in my own experience, this world just happened. It's infinitely less than the smallest subparticle of an atom. In your consciousness, you're always aware of the other, but this isn't really real. You're not taken in, because the joy I feel, the happiness, the ecstasy all day has nothing to do with this world. Am I trying to explain this to anyone I know? It's impossible, and yet I do it day to day. I see people at my home, wherever it is. I don't hang a shingle. I'll meet people here and there, and I can do my work. So you don't have to be anything, go anywhere, do anything. You certainly don't need a doctorate. That would be in the way of everything. I'm not against everything. I'm for everything good and decent and true. I'm for you. I'm letting you know what I know. And you know this is you. You have greatness in your heart and soul. You will fulfill your spiritual mission. There's no doubt. So the point is that this world is such a nothingness. It just happened. So we don't blame God, even question God about the day-to-day. We just fall into this deep state, and everything will be answered. You don't need any tools. You don't need more time or circumstance. You just need to fall into this simplicity. And the rest will be answered. You'll see that this world is so stupid and so nothing and so minuscule and so powerless against you when you quiet yourself. And see Him, the only God. You are God's shining light in this world, through this world. If you're here, you're a great hero in heaven because you gave the endless expanse of your divine presence, gave it up through that aperture port called birth to be here, and you're here, and you see how drastic the circumstance is. You take it on, and it's rough and tumble the first few years, and then you're just here to teach, to teach, to teach, to teach, to pray with, to care, to uphold the virtue in your own heart and soul. Protect your family name, to heal the wounded. You're here to help. And you don't have to go anywhere to learn this. You are this. You are the help that you wish to see everywhere. It is a horrible circumstance for those in pain, tragic conditions. I have a friend visiting another friend in the hospital right now who asked me to be there, and my family friends, many, and all my older friends, we're all spiritual. We don't have to see each other, and I can't explain it to any of my buddies. They want to fly with me to Naples, to whatever, with family that are, but we're already together. And because I gave my life to this cause, I have nowhere to go or nothing to do except remain in the quiet and take on all the pain of the whole world. And once you see that that's your reason, it won't be difficult. You can't explain it to many people in your life, but it's what you'll do. And all these different civilizations will be with you. And you'll transcend with them through this world system that seems to be. And a great calm will come upon the earth. That great calm is your heart, your faith, your belief in one God, one truth, one soul that we inhabit. Utter humility. It's a presence. There's not a me or a you. The main point is this world is a mistake. It happened somewhere in the endless effulgence of the divine light. And because I experience that all the time in my life, I understand that it really is that minuscule, and I can't explain it except to those very spiritual people around me. But it's time for us to just walk away from the pain and the drudgery and not blame other people in the body. There are no bodies. And when you're in love, you know that. You are in love. You are love. You are kindness. Your joy and wisdom and the sweetness from above. You will heal the nations in teaching them to unknow everything they think or believe of this world and look right through it with your spiritual vision. And you'll lift all souls to this quietude, this simplicity, this kindness. This kindness that fills the air nighttime and day is you, it's your presence, it's your soul, it's your spirit. And there's one soul and one spirit. We're not apart from one another. All the thoughts of the world elude us. And we'll find a good person here and we'll lift him, and a good person there, and we'll help this one, and some are already there, and you'll have a great friendship, but you won't really need each other because you have to keep doing the work. You are God's miracle. You will fulfill your spiritual mission. That is written. You're a good person and true. Everything the world has put on you will fluff off of you, fall away from you, As you understand, we're all made to be, we're guilty without wanting to be and innocent without knowing. And that covers what was just said. The world will screw you up, twist you, turn you. And if you know that's what it's this force that the world is, that's what it's doing to you, then you'll let go and you'll see the circumstances you were involved in, or a family member or friend was involved, and you'll find that who are really innocent in the middle of it, and they're set up, and you get all these confusing circumstances. That's why spiritual people walk away from the world. St. Francis said that every time he goes out into the world, he comes home late at night less a man. He comes back less a man. In other words, he would go to the alehouse at night, but he was already enlightened, or whatever you call it, and you get involved in all these circumstances that are not true. So it's better to sit quietly alone, and from your easy chair, you'll end the pain and trauma and the suffering of all that live forever, because you're good and you're true. You're guilty of nothing. You will fulfill your spiritual mission. Thank you for listening. Thank you.